Okay, so when I went to the Leaders Forum for VRMA to become a president, they have Leaders Forum with all their other associations, executives. And we watched this girl talk about, she came and she was doing, and her session was how to face your fears. It was brilliant. And I gave the suggestion, you should bring her, because she was really upbeat. She was, really now. And it doesn't have to do with vacation rentals, but it had to do with like motivation and talking. And she was just really upbeat. So I found out that not only did they accept her and she can do it, but I was going to introduce her. And then I started getting like the sweaty palms. I go, oh my God. I remember when the president of Smith Buckland introduced her, he had to dance with her on stage. Okay? And she's this like awesome dancer. And I'm not. Chad makes fun. I am totally not a dancer.
That would be like my absolute worst nightmare, having to dance on stage.
And so I'm like, maybe I can get out of this somehow, right? And so she comes and introduces herself, and I'm like, I've already seen you. Her name is Michelle. I loved your session. She goes, so you can dance with me? I'm like, oh, so you're serious? And I go, this white girl can't dance.
What is it, like ballroom dance?
Oh, no, she's like the whole Latino. Man, she can dance. And I mean, seriously. So I'm like, oh, she goes, I really am not a good dancer. She goes, is that a fear? I'm like, shoot.
No, you don't want to give her that.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no, it's a statement. And so, of course, she's like, no, you're dancing. So I'm just got inducted as president in Las Vegas. And then she's sitting there in the crowd going, and so I did the whole, I'm introducing her.
Just like as little as you needed to in order to satisfy her.
She walks up and starts doing the whole dance. And then she fell off the stage.
Well, I don't know who this was, and I would never wish harm on somebody.
No.
But as someone who hates dancing, who is always so offended when other people try to get me to dance, I'm kind of glad that karma caught up with this person. Because it's like they really enjoy it. That was a brilliant introduction, by the way. How do you feel about doing a podcast right now?
Okay, let's do it.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the founder of VRMB and the host of the Vacation Rental Show. And this is Season 4 of Unlocked, the Tiny Architects edition, in which we travel to meet the world's most innovative vacation rental professionals in their element and find out what makes them so special. This is Unlocked.
What is it going to be? Is it going to be Jodi TaylorMade or Jodi President VRMA?
I'd
or
like to
both?
Focus mostly on Jodi TaylorMade.
Okay.
But of course we can't ignore Jodi VRMA.
Okay.
And my guess is that there's some other Jodis in there too.
There's probably. Chad says, you just be quiet.
So to begin with, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Jodi. So I own TaylorMade Deep Creek Vacations in Western Maryland. We have about 440 homes. Been doing it for 11 years, but before that, I worked for my parents, and I worked for them for 12 years. So I've been doing vacation rentals for 20 some years.
Which is about as long as like anybody in the industry has, right? Almost.
There's a few more, but like I was the first hot tub tech in Deep Creek.
Hot tub tech.
Yeah, so I would go and service and clean the hot tubs. It was a great summer job for a college kid.
And this earned you a bunch of ins, I'm guessing, with the vacation rental community.
Well, my mom owned it. So it just earned me she didn't pay me well. It was just a steady job, and I worked outside. Like, who didn't
you were
want
technically in the industry way back then.
Yeah, no, I was. And then, so it's been a while. Like, I worked with them. Hot tubs. I did the key packets when we used to have keys. Reservations. I did public relations.
And so, wait a minute. This was okay. This is overload for me.
Uh-huh.
TaylorMade is first of all a name that strikes up other company in my mind. Is it a golf company?
It is a golf company. So, a couple things. Taylor's my maiden name.
Okay.
So that's where the design came in. It's a family company. So it's my brother Chad and my husband Joe.
And Chad, by the way, is here.
He's listening.
Sitting right behind me, telling me that I got to take care of his sister. And your husband Joe.
Yeah, and my husband Joe.
Who is not here.
Who's not here. He's running the ship at home.
Okay.
Office and home. So TaylorMade, it's TaylorMade Deep Creek Vacations and Sales. So we did have to make sure that everything was legitimate on that. But
and you've never heard from the golf guys?
No, we just have to, I mean, we had consult lawyers to make sure that we were good so we weren't infringing on anything with them.
Great tip, by the way, for people. If you're going to come up with a new name for your business, do a little searching before you go and build a huge brand around it, only to find out that someone...
You can't.
So the domain, buying the domain is probably a good first step if you've come up with a name that you feel
Absolutely.
passionate about. Second would be, indeed, the legal
The legal background. So it's interesting when we started this company, I had my first child. So Brody is as old as the company. And
Which was what year?
2008.
Okay.
So, of course, also a really not a great year because everything went into recession. But we...
And when you say we, this is you and Joe.
No, Joe, Chad, and I... Or Joe and I had Brody. Joe, Chad, and I started in 2008. That was the year, like, there was... the people's numbers dropped, recession was hitting. All this stuff was happening. So it was scary to start a company, you know, from scratch in 2008. But we did first when we started the company, unlike some other people that are getting into it, we had a background. I mean, we worked for mom and dad for 12 years.
And what was that business?
It was a vacation rental company.
Almost the same it is now today?
It was, they owned a company and then they sold it to their silent partner in 2007 and retired. That was a company I worked for 12 years.
Gotcha. And what was that called?
That was called Raleigh Mountain Lake Vacations.
Okay. Same area?
Same area.
Okay.
They sold it, so in 2000, and of course got rid of us because, I mean, you have to, I know, start up new. 2008, we started Tailor Made, Joe, Chad, and myself. And I remember going down to a close associate of ours, Doug Brindley, down in the Outer Banks. And the three of us were sitting there with Doug and his wife and newborn baby and, like, brainstorm, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we have no money. How are we going to do this vacation rental company?
You had experience.
We had experience, but we had no money. I mean, we knew you had to build a website. We knew you needed property management software. We knew you needed to invest in marketing. How are you going to do that? And I remember Doug looking at us and go, walk tall. Just walk tall, Jodi. He goes, you guys are going to get hit left and right. Walk tall and just, you know, have a lot of confidence. You guys do know what you're doing. You know, it's just scary to start from the scratch. He also helped us name the company. So it was Tailor Made because people knew the family, the Taylor family. So it was kind of just a play on words so people knew where to find us.
And walk tall is a confidence thing, or it's like a, if you don't know how to do it, just fake it?
In the beginning, pretty much. Yeah, if you don't have to, just go with your gut and see if you land. And I honestly, I think I've said so many times that I feel like at times during business decisions that we just jumped and both feet just landed. Mm-hmm. We did. I mean, there's things, you know, my dad, when he sold his company, it was a non-consult, non-advised. Like, he couldn't talk to us about business decisions.
Oh, wow.
And it was really tough as a family, considering my whole family worked together for 12 years.
Wow, so like you couldn't even at a nice private dinner gathering legally have those discussions.
I mean, Thanksgiving used to be a board dinner. I mean, it was just like that was what we did. So it was hard.
Is that weird?
It was very weird. You know, it was hard for Dad too because like he wanted to give us like, you're making a stupid mistake. Don't do that. Like,
wow.
And it was, I mean, we started off with no office, and then we're like, our owners want to meet us. So we need to have some kind of presence.
But how did you start from scratch? What were the first properties?
One. We had one. And I wanted to back up because I did want to tell you about my logo too, so I'll get to the one property.
Okay.
So I know I wanted, when I designed the logo, so that when you do things, this is what I'm going to tell like everybody I talk to when they start off with small properties, I'm like, do things intentionally. Our logo was extremely intentional. We wanted a bright color that wasn't used in the area, which was orange. We wanted oval because we thought it was friendlier, it was more inviting, more welcoming. And then when we did our font for Tailor Made, it was Satisfaction font because it was satisfaction for us and our family to start a company on our own from scratch and build it. So it was very intentional, and we always, even though we had no money, when we would do any marketing piece, it was always a classy piece. We always put money into it. It wasn't, you know, terrible pictures, and it wasn't cheap, and by no means. And even when we had 5 homes and we designed our signs and all that stuff, that was something that we got, like, it's a classy sign, and it sparked interest.
So was that just kind of a minimum standard that you were refused to go beneath? That was going to be your thing?
That was our thing. And to this day, we pour a lot of money into marketing, a lot of money, but it really helped us stand on our feet because we couldn't go after, like we would market the public lists and stuff, but we didn't go after directly any of our old owners. They did come. We've actually moved over about 200 from our old company in 11 years.
But how did we get from, what happened after one?
So one home, so I had, well, you're right, side jump. So we had one home, and then I would mail postcards to the whole, like everybody that rented in Deep Creek. And I kept mailing postcards, and I remember.
What kind of postcards?
They were like 4x6s with pretty pictures of the lake, and it says, call me. And I would tell them, what can we do for you? And seriously, I remember the first phone call came in, and I'm looking at Joe, and I have the baby, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the phone's ringing. And so we had the phone lines tied between Chad's basement and my basement. So that's where we worked because we didn't have an office then.
How many postcards did you send out?
Oh my gosh, we sent a lot.
Were they all handwritten?
No, I had them printed. My sister helped me print them because when I also worked for Mom, I did design. So I worked with my sister and we designed them and we printed them and mailed them, and a lot of them.
And the sentiment of this message was more than just call me. It was what? We are new.
We are new. We are experienced. We've been doing this. We are family. We are local. And it worked. But in the beginning, though, it's hard for owners that have that much investment in these large homes to make a change because that's like a leap of faith.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got my first contract and I looked at Chad and Jim like, they believe in us.
You were walking tall.
Yeah, I was walking tall. I walked a lot taller after that. It was so exciting. And then I still remember the first reservation that came in to a property we had that was called Bare Necessity, and it ended up being Joe's friend that rented it, Arlie, and I'll just never forget it. But we were the employees, so we cleaned the home. So I would have Chad or Joe go with me to go clean the property after the rental left. Our first hire was a housekeeper. It was the best thing ever. But I have to tell you, I will never, the first house was Wild Rose that we cleaned, and it was 5 bedrooms, and it had 5.5 bathrooms. And not just any bathroom, steam showers, massive.
Jacuzzis.
Massive. And when you clean, the longest time it should take you in the kitchen. So I'm like, I got the kitchen. You start upstairs, you do the bathrooms. This is my husband, Joe. I won't say what I called him. You're my partner in cleaning. We'll just keep it at that. After like an hour, he comes out and goes, first bathroom done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the guest is going to check in and you're going to be on your second bathroom. I'm like,
I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm like, are you scrubbing it with a toothbrush? Like, we need to pick up the speed. So we did everything, and then we hired a housekeeper, which was our first hire, and then we mowed lawns with lawnmowers that we had at home to get cash, to get plows, to put on Joe's truck to plow, because you got to think with rentals, right? You're renting a home, but they're not coming in for 4 months. So you really, truly don't have that money till 4 months. So how do you get money now? We service non-rental homes to get cash immediately.
Snow-plow?
We live in the mountains. We plow. Well, we still do it. Lawn. We do security checks. I did hot tub service. I did pool service. All for non-renting homes. So, because if it was a rent by owner, at that time, I couldn't service it at the same time. Well, as I got bigger, I can't service it on my turn days, but I can service it on my off-turn days.
And this was immediate cash flow that
Yes.
the business was desperate for.
Yep.
If you hadn't done those things, you wouldn't have been able to pay the housekeeper.
Right. Or get the marketing to get people to come down the road, right? Because you got to market now for them to come in 6 months and get the phone to ring now. So, yeah, that was cash flow for us. It's so crazy when I talk to people now. They're like, yeah, 440 homes. I'm like, no. I started like you. I started with one home.
You started like no one I've ever heard. Mowing lawns to acquire a plow, to generate cash flow, to pay your staff, to build. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's crazy hustle.
We did it. And we did it. And then we didn't have a laundry facility. But for my mom, we built a laundry facility. So we knew what it took to do it. We also knew at what point it would be profitable. right, to build your own in-house laundry facility. So like we knew we wanted to own the linen. So in the beginning we owned all of our linens, and then we sourced it out to clean them.
And this is all that stuff that you had learned with the prior family business.
Yep, absolutely. And then we also had a lot of associates in the industry because of VRMA. I had so many associates that I could tap, like, you know, I ran a company for mom and dad, but I didn't build a company with mom and dad. So, like, what does your contract look like, right? What are some of your policies you use? I could tell you, I got so many people from across the country sending me Word documents so that I can adjust and slap my logo on it.
And another great tip for people who attend these conferences, it's nice because there's no direct conflict of interest with maybe the people who work next door.
Right.
People are willing to share like contracts. People are willing to share verbiage and templates.
And processes. I mean, they're just very, it's such a warm industry. Everybody's so open with it. It is, and ever since, once we started building, ever since then, I feel like it's my job to return the favor. So everybody's like, you speak a lot, and you give, this morning I actually gave, I think 30 emails I sent before this conference. I sent out about our basic maintenance plan we designed. Here you go. Take it and run with it. Slap your logo on it.
This is Sean Miller, the president of Point Central. As a sponsor of the podcast, and also as a person who recently beat Matt in a one-on-one basketball game, we have the opportunity to interview Matt in this season's podcast. But we're going to save the full interview for the end of the season. Right now, we're going to share a small tidbit with you. Enjoy. One of these subtopics that comes out of regulation is safety in our private accommodations, which hopefully you don't hate that as a cliche. But if you just think of private accommodations compared to hotels, they'll say they're not as safe for guests to be in. Do you think we're doing the right things as an industry? Or do you think there's some gaps there we do need to improve on, whether it's, your comment of people who are not professional hosts acting more like professional hosts, or just things, again, as an industry we need to bring forward that allows people to know that these are just as safe as a hotel, and then have all these other different experiences behind it.
Safety is so important, and it doesn't get the attention that it deserves either. It's also one of those things that you tend to only think about after something unsafe has happened, when it's too late. It's something that an emerging industry is especially vulnerable to. And frankly, something that could sink us if enough safety issues take place without our prevention. So safety is hugely important, and it falls onto the shoulders of every single independent owner and manager to do. And the unfortunate fact, when we attend a conference like this, most people are super responsible and professional at these kinds of conferences because they are leading their industry or their local market. They want to be better. But the vast majority of vacation rental people out there, hosts, are not this considerate and thoughtful. They're doing it on the side. They maybe don't care about it quite as much. They're just not serious about it. Those are the ones who ruin that's the bad apple that ruins the bunch. So not only doing what we should as independents, making sure our homes are super safe, someone like Justin Ford, Dwell Safe, is probably the first one that's putting out templates and manuals and checklists, things that we need to have, because there is no worldwide organization that certifies the safety of a property. Some groups are doing it, and I hope to support them, and I hope they all work, because safety needs to be improved for sure. And if we do not improve safety, I fear that enough people on their first trial of vacation rentals as a traveler will get turned off, and the mass potential of this industry will be lost. So I think we must nip this all in the bud as independent people, proactively doing things within our own control to make for safe environments. And a lot of times that includes getting the guy who's not serious or not safe down the street to shaping up or else. All right, enough interviewing me. If you want to learn more about Point Central, head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB. You can sign up for a free demo, You get free HVAC analytics, and Sean's team takes incredibly good care of people. Now let's get back to the show.
Well, so I think that leads into my next question, which is, what kind of person decides to be the president of the VRMA?
So VRMA, okay, so I'm going to take you back. So my company's 11 years. So probably like 14 or 15 years ago, I went to my first Western VRMA conference, and it was with, my dad had me out there, and he was the vice president of VRMA at the time.
Okay.
And
royalty.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people knew my dad. Him and Jodi Refosco, if anybody knows that name, they would speak a lot of times on rates, and a lot of people knew him. He was very engaged. I went and I was facilitating a roundtable with Anne from Galveston Island. I don't know if you've ever met Anne and Claire, but they're wonderful people. And Anne looked at me. She goes, "Oh, they're grooming you." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "They're grooming you." I'm like, "I will never be on the board." I was so young. They're like, "I'm not going to." So then let's fast forward it. I started a company. I've always spoke ever since then. I spoke. I remember my first session speaking. I think I almost passed out. I was so nervous. I was in front of 200 people, and they kept coming and having to bring chairs in. And I said, "Isn't there a fire code? They should lock the door. No more people." But so I've been on the board 6 years. So I worked on committees, on the education committee, on the conference planning committee. I helped with membership committee, and I presented an opportunity where I remember at the time that I really wasn't sure if I liked the direction that VRMA was going. I just really wasn't sure. So I was going to do my own group, and we still did it. And it was called the Big Eight. Now it's the Vacation Rental Exchange, where we got together. But then I was like looking at myself, and I had to sit down and talk to Chad and Joe about it. I said, I'm not one to complain and walk away. If I'm going to complain, I need to do something to make it right, or at least try.
That's just your personality.
Just my personality.
The kind of person you are.
So that's when I had to sit down and have a family discussion, because it would take my time away from my office, my family, my children.
And what was the argument for doing it? What are the pros?
Well, the pros was I could help direct the ship in a direction that will move this association into a positive area, grow the education, educate people, make them more professional, learn about advocacy, how can we fight regulations, learn about how to be better professionals at what we do.
But so you almost cared more about the direction of the industry, as much, if not more, than your own business.
Well, I tend to know, I don't think my business got a hit at all, but I feel like that the association was going this way and they were leading the charge. It would only help TaylorMade.
Okay. So that's how you justify it, is that if the entire industry is moving in the proper direction,
right, and
we are positioned nicely in the middle of this current,
right,
it's actually a forward-thinking kind of move.
It was a hope, and it was it was the hope. And I think, and I look back to 6 years ago, and by the way, I never at once thought I would be president. I just thought I was going to be a part of thought leaders that I totally admired, and I could sit there and talk to them, and because you do things about the association, but you get to network and learn and get to learn about them. So it was to me, it was like a win-win. And but a couple years into it, I got asked to be secretary. I think I was secretary for like 3 years. But I think the real job was the president or the treasurer. Then we've had such great treasurers since I get on. Like we've had Steve Milo, we had Mike Harrington, we had Toby Babbage, now we have Jason. To really, because at the time we had $0 in our reserve, zero, which means because like we had a conference. I remember when Dad was vice president, it was supposed to be in New Orleans, and Katrina hit, and they had to move it like that to Atlanta. But if you have zero money in your reserve and you don't have the thing that's driving your association with the money, you are going to be in big trouble. So we needed to build that reserve up, and we did it. We ran a tight ship.
And I would like to take this chance to flashback to my interview with Mike Copps.
VRMA has been around since 1985, so we'll have our 35-year anniversary next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So, and that entire time it's been built on education, really. So to act like we're doing something incredibly new by focusing on education is not accurate. But what we are doing new is tied to the growth of the industry and kind of trying to adjust to everything that's going on, both regulatory and, of course, on the tech side and the data side, and educating our members around how to stay on top of everything that's taking place, right?
And it's a nonprofit
It's a
association
nonprofit.
by nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So trade associations, for the most part, are nonprofit organizations. So there's no owner, there's no principal, and there's no shareholders. It's by the members and for the members. So any money that we make, any bottom line, just goes back into the association and investing in new programs and products.
So in terms of leadership, there is a staff
Yep,
that works around the corner,
exactly right.
and some remotely, I'm guessing. And then there is also some separate board or something?
Exactly right.
Okay.
So the way that we talk about it in the boardroom is looking at it as a bicycle. It's just a kind of crude analogy or metaphor, but it works because the front wheel of the bike is the board of directors. And the board of directors is comprised entirely exactly of members.
Yeah,
so
for
they
those
steer
people
it.
that are not in the room, I'm doing
Matt's
like a little...
doing really good impersonation of driving a bike, and the board is steering the association in the direction they want it to go, right?
Okay.
And the people who are steering it are our members. So every year there's an election process. It's actually just started, where we're doing a call for nominations. It goes out to our entire membership, and everyone has the opportunity to run to be on the board of directors. And then there's a nominating committee who reviews all of that and puts the slate in front of membership. Membership all votes on it, and then at our annual conference every year, the new board members come on board, and they hop on that bike and they start steering it in the direction that it needs to go strategically.
And they're not paid to do that.
Total volunteer, 100%. So if you've been to our events, or if you come to our events in the future and you see at the beginning Jodi Refosco on stage or Mike Harrington on stage, they're doing that just as volunteerism to lead the association and help drive it in that direction, just for the good of the industry, because they're so invested in it and it means so much to them.
How has the influence structure changed over the years? So back when your dad was in the vice president role, I'm guessing there was one network or way of doing things, and I'm guessing now things have changed, or is it still very much the same way?
Do you mean among the association and the board, or do you mean in general in the industry?
The role of VRMA in the greater industry?
It has changed. It's changed a lot. Things have changed. Internet has evolved. I mean, it's gotten social media, all that stuff has changed drastically. And really, you didn't hear a lot about regulations.
Right.
You didn't. It wasn't on the forth. I mean, we had regulation in our area, but it was very minimal compared to what people are dealing with right now.
Right.
And we do keep, a pulse on that with our area, but it's very different. And I think also members have more needs than they did then. They didn't just want to come to a conference to be educated. They wanted someone to help them, give them tools to fight regulations in the area, to become smarter with internet marketing, be smarter with OTAs. That wasn't around.
You were using what?
We had our website. That's what we were in the. I remember, I think when Dad sold the company, at max it was 30% booked online. We're at 75%.
And where were you doing most of your advertising back in the day?
Newspapers, magazines. We still do a couple of magazines, but if it was up to Chad, there would be none.
Direct mail?
Oh, absolutely, direct mail.
Yeah, in hindsight, is that postcard thing still a real marketing play?
I still do saturation pieces with postcards, not just for my owners, but for my guests.
What does that mean, saturation
So I
pieces?
pick out zip codes in certain demographic areas that are a target for us,
Okay.
and I send postcards to that area.
How do you get the people's addresses?
Tax records.
Tax records, which are publicly available.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you know that the property is a short-term rental?
Well, those are for guests. So short-term rental. If I want to target owners, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
okay, so there's two different markets there.
Okay.
If I want to target owners, our area is regulated, so there is a public list for every vacation rental home.
Okay.
So I hit them up. I take mine out, of course, and I hit them up. And you can do postcards, but then you can also do Facebook. I mean, I can go down the whole road of owner acquisitions. You can do Facebook ads, which are definitely less intrusive to attract to them. But I mean, back in Dad's age, he didn't have to market to owners. And I remember when the vacation rental exchange I talked about, and I did my first owner acquisition conversation, not one of them have ever did an owner acquisition campaign. Not one. because they just came to them. But now you got younger companies, more aggressive companies that are coming in, and they're going to steal your inventory. So you need just to be able to be in people's faces constantly and letting them know what's going on.
And then the traveler side of things was getting people to consider booking your property.
Yeah.
Where were those zip codes?
Those were, there was the tax records that we were getting them from.
No, but where would you target?
So I knew my market. So I know my market is DC, Northern Virginia, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. And those were the areas I'd be looking for, and I would bounce around.
Because people can drive.
Oh, we're drive-to-market only, yeah.
Okay.
We did an ad in the DC Metro during the Cherry Blossom Festival. That was huge. So we do different things, and what's nice because we're not a huge company. I mean, I guess we are with 440 homes, but we're local. We know where our target market is, and it's also where our owners are.
Right.
So the Cherry Blossom Festival, you know how many emails
Playing off each other.
I got from owners saying, "Oh my gosh, I was on my commute and I saw your ad. How fantastic!"
So this is a good tip for property managers in any location, whether they're looking to acquire more owners, or guests. If you can identify the areas where your potential clients
Where your market is.
exist, and you can do this with tax records.
You can do it with any public list that you have in the area. Like Steve Meyer, I think, was touching on that yesterday. Any public list you can use. We were using a dock list, so it wasn't necessarily just vacation rental homes, but like homes just that are on the lake, right? So it's all homes. So maybe the guy never rented before and life's changed, or he inherited from his parents.
And all of these are getting a custom postcard.
Yep.
And the postcard is the go-to move for you, right?
That it is, but there's other things that we have done that has, like for instance, recently in the last couple of months, our county commissioners had decided to, they wanted to increase our accommodation tax, and they wanted to go from 6 to 8%, which is a big jump, and we were the only really lodging company fighting it. And so we decided to put a letter together to that entire list that was renting and saying, I'm not trying to sell you my company. I want you to be aware of what's going on locally, and if you disagree with their move, please send a letter to the county commissioners, and here's all their stuff.
And what was the response?
I got so many calls from my rent by owners
Saying
in my
what?
area. Thank you. We didn't know. We had no idea. I just appreciate you that you reached out. And honestly, I keep in contact with some of them because they need to help. You know, they need us to help them sometimes. So we tried to just educate them, being the local experts and stuff like that.
Help, don't sell?
Yeah. Help out, educate them, let them know what's going on. And so that's proven. We got a house one winter when we got so much snow, he couldn't find a plow guy because it was 2 a.m. and his guests couldn't get to the house. So he called everyone he could find. He didn't live in Deep Creek, so he started calling property managers. Well, this is when we started our company, and we had a newborn baby, so we were up in the middle of the night, like.
And you happen to have a snowplow.
And we happen to have a plow. We got him as an owner because we were just available and just being helpful. So there's things like that you can do that you don't. It's not intentional to get the owner that way, but by just being available and being nice and friendly, that you can gain relationships.
You've been in this industry for how many years? 20 what? 20?
23.
23 years, which is incredible. Single story, whether it's a guest or an owner, that you think epitomizes the vacation rental industry the most? Could be a funny one, could be a horror story.
Oh gosh, I think I can write a book on horror stories. Well, I can tell you like the list of the most crazy things you've been ever asked. So, and I'm going to give you 2. And one was when I worked for my mom. And remember, I am in the mountains. I'm on a lake, freshwater lake. And the renter called me up and said, I want to book the last week in July. But I don't think, I've been told it's not the best week to book. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? That's a great time to book. The lake, you can swim. It's going to be warm out. There's no humidity here. And they said, well, we were told it was the worst week for jellyfish. I'm like, oh, well, we don't have jellyfish or sharks or alligators. Sometimes they don't understand where they're calling because they're used to going to the beach or something like that, or just don't understand what a freshwater lake means. My other one was one that we had recently. And this is things like when we talk about things that they're just funny stories and anecdotes that, when you get into this business, it's not for the faint of heart. It just is not. There is too many moving parts. And this guy we had stay at a very high-end property. And my poor brother had to deal with him. And he was really upset that we did not control the gnat population on the outside of the house, like bugs, and didn't provide him bug spray and citronella candles. He was very upset because he didn't agree with the style of the furniture on the outside, which, by the way, was really nice furniture. He was upset that it had rained and it's wet, that we would need to come and dry it off. He was upset that he couldn't read the sign, because you know the Anderson doors are the 3-prong, you got to lift the handle to turn the knob. Even though there's a nice thing to show you, he was upset that we didn't physically tell him. He was upset that he couldn't read the sign on the pool door that says you need to push a button so the alarm wouldn't go off. But we should have told him about it beforehand so that he knew before reading the sign that he had to push the button. That was just it was crazy. And it's like these things that we deal with. Our owners have no idea of some of the things that we have to, suck it up and talk to. And Chad did a great job dealing with him. He had to go to the house, but the guy, he was relentless. It was every day. And it was just very interesting.
And I think the more business we do, the more guests we host, the more volume we move, the more likely we are going to stumble upon this man.
Yes, just don't rent to him again. I'm like, I just don't think mountains are for you.
Right. And I think also you learn to see some of the red flags before they arrive. Mm-hmm. So it's like keeping an eye out for those things in the booking process and being totally upfront and saying, listen, some of these questions are giving me the feeling that we might not be the best fit. Here's the link to our competitors.
I have done that. We had one guy, and I told you I could talk. We had one guy that, this was years ago, he stayed at this rental home, and he had, every time we went, every door and every window was wide open, and he had the air conditioning running at full blast. And so my maintenance guy was like, look, you're going to freeze your air conditioning unit. You need to keep the doors closed if you're going to, or turn it off. And he said, I can't control my children. This is how they are. And I'm like, wow. I want them to have the flow. And we went back 3 times. And then I told him, I'm like, look, if your air conditioning unit freezes up, I can't help you. Well, guess what? The next day it froze up, and it froze up that we had to fix it. And he called back and wanted a refund. And I said, I'm not going to refund you, sir. I warned you this was going to happen. And you're lucky that I'm not charging you to fix the air conditioning unit, that I made you aware of what you were doing. And then he called me back 2 days later because he wanted to rebook it for next summer. I said, sir, I don't think you should stay in any of my vacation homes. I think you obviously do not respect the property enough to heed our warnings.
So this saying in, I think it's the restaurant industry, or maybe something broader, that the customer is always right. Do you have a similar kind of mantra that you guys use? Because you clearly have made a lot of people happy despite some of these bad apples.
Yeah, you get the bad ones, but the majority of our guests come back and stay with us. So yes, the customer's always right to a degree. And it's something, and that was one when I did prove him wrong.
With an asterisk.
Yes, with an asterisk. The majority right. And we do everything we can to make them happy. I mean, there's one thing that I did, and I got the idea from a hotel. And I walked into the hotel, and I had my kids, and they looked at me, and they said, would you like your free kids backpack? I'm like, yes. Well, what is it? I was like, what is it? But of course. And I was like, anything free for my kids? So, we just got back, traveled to get here. And it was nothing crazy. It was like a cheap cinch bag. It had like the football cutout flip, thing. It had an activity book. It had my kids wouldn't even go to the pool for the first 30 minutes. They had to play with this thing. I got back and I said, because I used to sell like these Kids Avenger Cup packs that had like really nice coolers and really nice like glasses or like sunglasses. And I said, we're getting rid of all of it. We're going to do it for free to any kid that walks into our office.
Wow.
And Chad's like, oh my gosh, that's a line item.
Right.
But the reviews that we got and the smiles on the face of the kids made all the difference. And to this day, we still do it.
Wow.
And so I want to tell you one other story that I learned, and you can learn stuff from other hotels and stuff. Disney World. We're big Disney fans. And I went to Disney World, and I went, it was the end of the trip, and I had been taking pictures on the camera. It was before we had our phones, right?
Yeah. And
And I put it in the back of, they have that like little bag where you can put them on the choo-choo train that goes around the Magic Kingdom, right? My kid was they were like 2 and 5. I left it in there. I totally forgot it. And that night I called and I knew where it was, and they said, well, they haven't brought Lost and Found. Just go home, ma'am, and then give us a call. So I went home and I called them, and they're like, well, can you describe people on the camera? And I'm like, yeah. Like, we're like a family of 19, because, like, there's all of us that goes. My husband's 6'7", so we have people, and then you have Joe that sticks out, and I have like all these kids, and she's like, oh my God, this is totally your phone. I'm like, yes, you can't miss it. And I said, I had my credit card out, and I said, okay, I'm ready to give you my credit card. She goes, no, ma'am, I'm going to ship it to you for free, and because it's your memories, I'm going to overnight it to you so you can get it as soon as possible. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I used to charge for Lost and Found. I don't charge anymore, and I get comments about it too. So that experience, how it made me feel, that, wow, that's great. Like, unless it's a luggage bag, which I don't know how you forget your luggage bag, but it happens. We don't charge for Lost and Found. We'll go find it, we'll look for it, we'll ship it back.
And would you say these are just general good hospitality tactics for everyone?
Yeah. And I think it's, because I think with vacation rentals, I think it's very personal. I think it's a very personal business.
Yeah.
And it's about relationships that you build.
Yeah.
And I think what makes our company stand out is that we're local. We're owners that are active. We don't sit behind. Like, we're always involved with everything that we do.
So in that case, what are instances in which people would be doing the wrong thing? Like they would be missing the point or losing the personality? What are some examples of things that you've seen done that are dangerous territory for like the essence of the business?
Well, I think when you automate absolutely everything, you lose the personal touch. I get nervous with any automation, but I know it is a necessary evil at some point. We like to be involved with those things. So if you do all automation, you lose it. We do 75% of our bookings online, but 25% are calling my office because they want to talk to somebody about stuff they can't get online. And so I think if you lose that personal touch by automating everything, you'll lose it there. I think sometimes, I do everything in my one area because I know it. If I was to branch out, I would have to partner with people that are experts in that area. I'm not sure that we would be able to run a business like we run the one we have now because we are in it.
And so what does that mean for some of these gigantic companies that have headquarters one place and presence, quote unquote, in all these other markets?
Well, they're obviously successful at some level. I mean, they're growing, which is fantastic. I don't think they can be as personal as we can. And so for all the vacation rental managers that are in those areas, realize it. And remember, you are good. You should walk tall. You guys, just because they have a lot of money behind them and they're really persistent, does not mean that they have something better to offer than you do. And so I think they do lose that personal touch, not just with guests, but with owners. And I think owners want to know the company. It is money, but it's much more than money. I think the relationships are important. I I know that they want to know that you are there for them, not just to make a dividend. Like, we're not there for that. We're there to help them because we have a passion for what we do. We like what we do on an everyday basis.
And also nicely segueing into my next question, if you've been in the industry for quite some time, you signed up for one thing at the beginning.
Right.
And with so much change, all of a sudden you find yourself in an entirely different place. How do you stay nimble and flexible? How do you, in a way that doesn't make you fragile and prone to breaking or burning out?
Well, I don't think I've broken yet. One, as a person for Jodi, I have really good partners. And I talk to my mom about this. Like, Mom, you worked with Dad and you worked with, she had another partner. And I said, and it didn't go well with the other partner. And I'm like, Joe and Chad and I we get along. She goes, there's a difference. And this is what you got to do. When you do any kind of partnerships with anybody, you have to have respect. And she goes, Jodi, I've seen you guys, you come at issues or challenges differently, but you always come out because you respect each other and you're flexible with each other and you guys all compromise, but you all let each other listen. So first it's partners, because that was very important.
How much do you respect your partner? If the answer is a great deal, you're in a good position. If the answer is no, think twice.
Yeah, because that's not a good way to wake up in the morning, because this is the person that I mean, that's driving your livelihood.
That's a good tip for relationships in general, really.
Right. I guess
Literally
so.
the way you're waking up in the morning.
Right. Yeah. And and then build your team. And build your team wisely. And, we've had our ups and downs with
What
it.
is wise building? Team building?
Somebody that's dedicated, someone that has the same or close to the drive like you do. Like, we're very ambitious. We're very motivated. Bring people in like that. And then make them part of the family.
And what do you say to people who say, there's no one who is specialized in vacation rentals who has my drive in my area? Do they look outside of vacation rentals? Do they look into entirely different industries?
Yes. Do you know the best reservation is someone that is a waitress or a waiter at a restaurant? Because they deal with crazy people.
Yeah, they do.
And that they're the best people to talk to them at the front desk.
That is a brilliant tip.
Mm-hmm. And so, you look outside your area. Be in your community. Go to the local coffee shop. Listen to people. Talk to people. We built our team. We were lucky because we knew some of the experts in our area. I will tell you, my general manager, I wanted her, and she ran another vacation rental company, and she was one of my close friends. And I wanted her for years, but she was very loyal to her company, so I never pushed her. We ended up buying that company. I told her she's my most expensive employee I've ever had.
And how many properties were beneath that fleet?
100. So
Whoa.
That was in
You
2016.
literally bought, was that the first company you bought?
We only bought one company. I'm
Okay.
not in the business to buy companies. That was crazy.
That's crazy to me.
We bought them on August 1st. And I asked the company, because it was a corporate company, I said, do you guys actually do vacation rentals? Because August 1st is a Saturday in the busiest week of the summer.
And what?
And suddenly we have 100 homes, more. Like, that's nuts.
But they were not doing well, or what?
No, they were trying to get out of the area.
So is that a way to immediately increase your inventory?
Yeah, well, it did, by 100.
And what do you, real quickly, I don't want to get into numbers or
Yeah.
anything, but what's the rough way that you go about making an offer to a company like that?
We consulted a consultant because we had no idea. They came to us. Like, we weren't looking to buy a company. We were perfectly happy with our 250 homes.
They said, would you like to buy our property
Would you
management?
consider it? Because we were the best fit for their owners. They wanted to get out. Because they're now by any means a declining company. They just wanted to get out of that area.
Got it.
So it kind of worked for them.
So you looked at the amount of properties, I'm guessing.
And the properties.
The properties themselves.
The properties themselves, like, are they, if they're a bunch of not so nice homes, I don't want them.
And do you have to look at how long the contracts last?
We had to look at their contracts. We had to look at their total revenue for the past couple of years. We had to look at their fee styles and structures. There was a lot that went into buying company, and I will tell you, they were slow at responding. I'm a very immediate person.
No.
No, not at all. And they were so slow, so much so that I made the mistake that one time I thought I was emailing my husband, Joe, not Joe, the vice president of corporate, and I said, this is like watching paint dry. He responded within minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And he actually, that's how it all got, we're actually rolling.
Kickstarted.
Because he goes, you're right, it is. Because it's really not his fault, because it's corporate. You had to go down the chain.
Right.
And then at closing, he goes, any snarky remarks? I'm like, no, we're good. I really did it. We're done.
And that was the only company that you bought. That
Yeah,
was 100 properties. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. And that was when you already had how many at the time?
250.
Okay, so you increased by 30%.
Yeah, we increased. And then the question is always do you take the employees? Because really, we already had a network of for the reservations. I didn't need anyone. I already had the network for accounting and marketing, So do you need them? But we live in such a small community. We thought the right move was to take them. And we did. And they weeded themselves out because we take care of our employees, but we also expect them to work hard. And we definitely take care of them. But they weeded the ones out that didn't fit the mold. But we kept the majority, and it was great. They're a great part of our family now.
You meet a lot of owners and managers throughout the conference circuit and I'm guessing virtually. Any characteristics that you're noticing about the ones that are thriving and versus the ones that seem to be really struggling and or closing up shop? Let's start with the ones that are thriving.
Those people are very nimble. They're flexible. They embrace technology and change. They are. They don't stay back and just let things roll, and it's how it's always been.
Proactive.
They're extremely proactive. They also make sure their marketing is accurate. They don't put all their tools in one box. They don't just market online on Airbnb or VRBO. They market multiple places. They have a great website. They do print pieces. They do direct email pieces.
Diversified.
They most definitely do. The ones that aren't, and I'm not saying they're closing up shop, but they're either retiring, because it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a lot. My father was pretty proactive with everything. He was one of the first companies to get book online and all that stuff and get his own website. But the stuff that we're doing now, he can't even fathom. He's like, all the OTA stuff that you have to do and social media stuff that you have to do.
Yeah, it's like, this is not what I signed up for.
No, it's so different. And so the people that are not going in that direction, they're probably retiring, trying to sell. The ones that they're declining is the ones that aren't being flexible. But I think also that's what those bigger companies are looking for out there. Because I was approached by one of the big companies, we won't name names, but I was like, either if I look like I'm retiring now, or you see my company in decline, don't approach me. I'm like, but when you see one of those things happen, by all means.
And if someone's listening to this and they do feel like they're in that position, maybe not declining, but would be open to that, now's a good time?
Now's a good time, but you don't have to reach out to the big companies. There could be local friendly competitors that you'd be like, look, I'm ready to go hang out on the beach in St. John.
And how would you, St. John, U.S. Virgin Islands?
It's one of our favorite places.
That you're speaking for all of us in this room right now.
Wow, well, we'll talk.
Yeah, we love St. John. How would you go about putting a number on your business?
So that's a tricky thing. And it's, again, there's consultants out there that can help you.
Okay.
I'm not the best one. And I just know it's a percentage times earnings. So it's like 3 times earnings. I'm not sure what the exact number, but it's something like that. That's what they say. But then, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah.
If you have infrastructure, if you have
a great brand,
a brand, if you have employees,
right.
if you have, the website, the marketing,
the properties themselves, are they top end or are they
absolutely
failing?
Yep.
This is interesting because I think almost everybody falls into one of those two camps, and we all have options right now. Like, no one is really stuck.
No.
Or shouldn't be.
I think the industry is moving so fast and adjusting. So those ones that want to get out, there's avenues for you to get out. Sell the company. There's ones that, you want to grow. Well, how do you want to grow? Do you want to grow with number of properties? Because that's not the only growth there is. You can grow with the style property.
Yep.
We get rid of homes that are poor performers, or we just don't like the owners. But we grow, we look at the return, and we look at the style properties.
What'd you just say under your breath?
Or the ones we don't really like.
but that's how another style of growth is leaning out your property count.
Yes, absolutely. So you don't have to take everything, because also you can get rid of the ones that you're spending more time on, not getting a lot of money for. You can get rid of them and get a house that's really nice that you'd rather dedicate more time to because you're getting a better return.
Borja Rodriguez, an Inner Circle member in Spain, I remember he had 70 properties and he was making, let's say, X. And he decided he needed to make some changes and fire some owners. And he went all the way down to like 20. He's now up to 40 again and he's making X.
Right, so you're not working as hard, you're working smarter.
And
that was the other thing Doug said.
And with better people.
Right.
And better properties, fewer complaints.
Yeah.
So that's maybe also another way to stay nimble is hit the reset button every chance, every option.
Absolutely. And you should be looking at your inventory every year anyway. You should definitely be, so that you don't have to grow by numbers, but grow by style. You can grow by revenue. And just make sure that it makes sense and it's profitable. And then you could do offshoots of business. Like, we've tried things to be profitable, like window cleaning and carpet cleaning. It really didn't work for us. But we tried it. Plowing lawn works for us, but again, you have more employees. We have 165 employees.
What?
I know. That's what I said when I went into HR.
You have
no wonder I get tired.
165 employees?
Do. It's yes. And it's because we do everything in-house. So it's our housekeepers, it's our commercial laundry facility, our maintenance guys, hot tub techs, our accounting, our marketing, our reservationists, our lawn and plow. It's 165, and then we have 43 agents, but that's on the other side. But yeah, It's a lot of moving parts.
It's a ton of moving parts, and at the end of the day, I'm guessing that the thing that holds it all together is the person in charge, or the people in charge.
Right.
You, Joe, Chad. May there come a day when you guys decide to hang up your boots?
One day. I'm not ready to retire yet. I think Joe would be ready to retire before me. He's already said, he goes, oh, no, I'll let you work. That's what he told me. But, it's there's always opportunity out there. We love what we do still. And we still have a passion for it. We still have a drive for it. I still like waking up and going to work, and I feel like it's like a puzzle. I like to make sure I'm making that revenue for that owner, and what are we doing to make a change? So every owner is different. Their marketing is going to be a little bit different. You might have to change ways you do rates for certain homes. You might change the way you do marketing to certain homes. They're all different, but it's like a puzzle. And then you find the right employees, which is not always easy, to be able to help you fill that puzzle for them. So it's fun. It's still fun.
And your passion is infectious. People feed off of it, and I think that's maybe part of your secret sauce. Why you've done so well here is that you're a great leader.
Well, I like what I do, and I think when I was when I thought about becoming the president of VRMA, I was like, "You sure you want me? They don't want to hear me talk. I don't know if they still want to hear me talk up there." But what's nice is they come to me. Like, I'm always available. Like, I want to be available. They don't have to go through the staff. They can come to me. And that's what Mike House said. He's like, you're so different because people they'll just email you with a question and then don't have to go through the I'm like, absolutely. I'm available to them because I learn from them. When I speak, I feel like I gain more than the people in my audience because I'll ask the direct questions and then I get answers from them. So I feel like I enjoy helping people grow. As much as I love to learn from them.
You are a special human, and thank you for your wonderful industry leadership.
Thank you. Thanks
High
for
five
having me.
to end
All
that podcast.
There you go.
Hey folks, thanks for listening. I just wanted to remind everyone that this episode was brought to you by Point Central, the home automation experts of our industry. You can head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB, fill out the form, and take a free demo. You'll also get free HVAC analytics, and I can promise you that Sean's team will take great care.